Again. So I thought this podcast was really touch on a couple things. It's the fake caller IDs. And I've been seeing multiple times on Nextdoor apps and other places where people are saying they got a phone call, which they didn't answer, but it was from local. It was a 907 phone call, and they called it back, and that person had no knowledge of making the phone calls. And this is really the spammer spoofing a phone number, because you're more likely to answer it if you think it's a local number. So I've been seeing that come on. Social Security card calls, work from home scams, mortgage refis. Those are all things that we see that are happening right now. So I thought this is a shorter podcast. We'll go through a little bit of that. I'll make some comments. And then I have some other scams that we see happening locally that I've got notice from the Federal Trade Commission and also AARP on some things that are happening that they're seeing happening locally. So we'll go ahead with this. Any questions so far? I don't know if you guys had a chance to listen to the podcast itself, but Daryl, if you want to go ahead, we'll go ahead and start and just have some comments and see if there's any feedback on that.
Okay, here we go with the first segment.
It's from the area code that my cell phone's in. So the scammer was very sneaky.
The scammers, right. So, but doesn't mean a thing, does it, Frank?
No, they do that on purpose so that you believe it's a local call from someone you know.
I don't like that. I get phone calls. The ones that's tricked me, by the way, sorry, Julie, are the ones that mimic my own cell phone number. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard this, but I've gotten some that look literally almost like a slight aberration on my number.
They can, as we've always say, they can manipulate the phones very easily.
All right, so here we go. You ready?
Hey, sorry I missed you. It's Rachel. I'm just calling to follow up on your business line of credit. It actually looks like I have you pre-approved for up to $250,000. Give me a call on the number that popped up on your caller ID. I'd really like to catch up and go over some of the rates and terms. Have a great day.
Right? Rachel?
This is great news from Rachel. Should Julie call back?
Absolutely not.
But Rachel sounds so friendly. Like we're best friends.
And you've got a lot of money.
And Rachel uses your name for familiarity, and then she basically gives you the big pitch line, I'm going to give you $250,000. And you can understand that some people may even say, well, this might be a scam, but I want to listen because I might be able to get $250,000 on a loan from these people. But obviously, those are just pitches that people make. Once they get you on the phone, they're really looking for information. So obviously, if you were someone who did call back and say, yes, I'm absolutely interested in this, even if it was a smaller loan, $40,000, $20,000, then the next question, of course, well, let me take your application over the phone, name, address, social security number, date of birth, credit card numbers, who do you bank with, what's your bank account number, as you would in any credit application.
And Julie will be living on the dark web after that.
That's right.
Oof, scary.
But, what's really interesting about hearing that, I think, is she sounds quite personable, friendly, good, charming, whatever you want to say. I mean, it just underscores how good they are.
Yeah, and sometimes people are just hired to make these pitches. They don't even know what they're doing. They're just hired and said because they have a great voice and they sound very enthusiastic, and they just tell them we're a company and we sell these loans. When we call, we want just to have your voice on there that adds a pitch, and then one of our people will come on and actually talk to them.
I wonder if they could actually insert a name within hi blank. I mean, there must be technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so you didn't call back.
I didn't.
We should call them right now. No, I'm kidding.
I know. But she did just sound so friendly, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's all part of it.
It's all part of it. They're tricky.
She says, call me at the number on your caller ID. Clearly that's so, because the number is probably different for every single call that goes out there. Like she doesn't say, call me back at this number.
No, the number keeps changing with each call.
All right, Julie, we have another.
Okay, Michelle, we're at our first break.
Okay, so what we have here touched on that they spoofed the number to call back. The scammer sounds friendly, personable. They use the victim's name. They're hired probably because they have a great voice. They sound friendly, and then it's all handed off to a closer if they get a live person on there. So of course, we always tell people, don't ever call these back. If this message is on your recorder, don't call it back because we know it's going to be a scam. Okay, Daryl?
Okay, here we go.
Phone call, another voicemail, right?
Yes, I do. And this one is from one of our colleagues here at AARP Studios.
And once it gets expired after that, you will be taken under custody by the local police, as there are 4 serious allegations pressed on your name at this moment. We would request you to get back to us so that we can discuss about this case before taking any legal action against you. The number to reach us is 845-423.
Do you work closely with this person?
Yes.
She is in big trouble.
She's in big troubles, right?
Well, the first,
Frank's got mail.
the first thing would put me off is that it's a computer-generated voice. It's not a human being that's actually making that pitch. And obviously, anytime you get you have to call immediately, you have to pay immediately, you have to act immediately. That's the red flag that it is probably a scam.
Although the fear factor there is what would get to people. I mean,
well, yeah, you get a little bit apprehensive, and you might call back just out of curiosity to see what their pitch is. But again, you don't want to be giving them any information.
Oh, man.
You got another one?
I do.
Okay, Michelle, we're set to go.
Okay, so what you have here is, again, the computer-generated voice, which I haven't really seen one of those. I don't know if you guys have. Most of the ones I've seen are live calls. But first of all, there's a serious allegation. There's fear, there's immediacy, and that's what they try to do. They want you to call back, or they want you to talk to them right away because they want to instill fear in you. They want to intimidate you and tell them there's a problem and what they're going to do to solve the problem. Of course, it's always going to be you're going to pay money to solve the problem. So that's what and they give you a time limit. You have to call right back. This has to be done right now. And that's what they do. They don't want to give you time to think. They don't want to give you time to call family, relatives, to maybe call your credit card company, whatever it is. They don't want you to do that, obviously. So they give you that fear and intimidation just starting out. Okay, Daryl?
Okay, here we go.
Let's hear it.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Stewart. This is Andrew giving a call from the Dave Munson Agency. I'm just trying to check in with you. I know we were trying to move forward with the insurance plan. Just checking in to see if your card has been fixed for the down payment. Give me a ring back whenever you have a minute, and you have a great day.
The kind of like, aw shucks, local yokel lingo is what what gets people, I think, and they go for more and more, as opposed to the robocall.
Yeah, and depending on where they're calling somewhere in the Midwest, and they speak like a Midwesterner. If they're speaking to somebody in New York, they speak like a New Yorker. Anything to get your confidence. And again, all of it comes back down to getting you to give them some information. So that's the red flag. Even if you were to call back, the minute they started asking you those personal questions, that's when you need to hang up. And so it's really not that difficult. I remind people all the time.
It's not to you, but
no,
for the rest of us.
But I remind people all the time that if you make it easy for someone to steal from you, it's unfortunate, but chances are they will. So you don't make it easy.
Hey, Julie, this is Will. Just calling about your social security card. I've got it, but I want to make sure it's you. If you can just read it to me. All right, joining us now is Brooke Ellis, another of our scam busters here at A.
Okay.
Okay, not too much to say about that other than, you know, they have people that talk to you and sound like how you would sound, and that it's just like having the local area code. It gets you more enthused about calling back or wanting to call back, but you know, you don't want to make it easy for them, and you don't want to call back, and there's really no more. But you know, they figure out all these different ways to get people to do what they want to do, and that's just one of them. Okay, and the next one is going to be about the work from home opportunities. So Daryl.
Right, here we go.
RP. Hi, Brooke.
Here's a message I got. For some reason, I get only scam calls on my work cell phone.
Really?
Yeah, and unless it's somebody calling me back who I've reached out to, anything else that's incoming is a scam call.
Because as a younger person, you don't call anyone anymore, do you?
Well, it's my work cell, so
Right.
I actually do call people, but on my personal phone, I don't get any. On the work phone, that's all that there is.
Got it. I was just assuming that young people only text.
Oh, I'm a bad millennial. I don't know. I call sometimes. Yeah. Okay, here it is.
Hi, Max Brown here, calling about the application you submitted for the work from home opportunity with Amazon. Please complete your application and learn how you can earn up to $3,000 to $6,000 per month using your computer with Amazon. The website to finish your application is amazondatajobs.org.
And of course, I didn't submit anything to AmFund.
This is exciting news, Brooke. You've got a job with Amazon, so you could it can be your side hustle, I believe, is what they call it these days.
Yeah, my work from home
Yeah.
job with Amazon, according to Max.
Great.
Yeah.
Frank,
So again, a phishing call, and even if you didn't, and you realize you didn't apply to Amazon, had nothing to do with it, you started to say, whoa, I can make that much money from home. I need to look into this. Obviously, the site they're sending you to is fictitious. And once again, when you did make connection with someone, they'd be seeking information. So if I was going to hire you, I would need your social security number. I knew your mailing address. I knew your date of birth, etc. So again, in the end, it's all about getting information.
you didn't call back.
No, I did not call
All right.
back. Yeah.
All right, I know we have some email. Thank you, Brooke.
Okay, Michelle.
Okay. Hold on, I need to make this a little louder here. So again, this is something for work from home. Sometimes it's Amazon, sometimes it's other companies that they're talking about. What they're trying to do here is they're fishing for information, for personal information. They want you to fill out an application once they get you going on this. Of course, $3,000 a month sounds good, work from home, although we're all working from home now anyway, but this is what they're looking for. They want to get your social security number for employment. They want to get your other personal information because they're going to use it for identity theft and then for other types of scams. So that's the end result of what they're looking for on something like this. And I think we just have one more segment, and
All right, here we
and
go.
this is on refinancing mortgages and new mortgages.
All right, here we go.
Great contribution. Thank you, Frank. Julie, any more phone calls, or we're going to emails?
All right. Well, looking at some of these emails, let's read this one from one of our colleagues, actually. She and her husband recently purchased a home, maybe about a year ago now. So they're getting calls for refinancing. And she's getting calls constantly, every day, between her and her husband.
Okay, so they legitimately are getting refinanced, and now they're just being bombarded. Frank?
Again, somebody seeking information. So if I come on and offer you a deal on the refinancing at a very low interest rate, it sounds terrific. The company name sounds pretty legitimate, and you call me back, again, in order to take an application, I have to ask you all these pertinent questions such as name, address, bank account numbers, social security numbers, dates of birth. We should mention there is a new mortgage scam that's a lot more serious than that going on. And that is that people who are getting ready to close on a house, they've been involved very deeply with their realtor and their bank. They've saved up $40,000, $50,000 for their down payment. They get an email from their realtor that says the bank is ready for you to make the down payment. You need to wire your funds to this account. And that turns out to be a fictitious account. And the money ends up going overseas. You're out your down payment of your home. This happens a lot because the realtor is actually using their Yahoo account instead of using the company's business account. And it doesn't have the security that the business account has. And so people get that email and they think, wow, I've been waiting for them to tell me where to wire my down payment. This is where I wired it. And of course, the bank has no legal liability. You're just out your down payment on your home. So I'd always make sure you verify when you get an email telling you where to wire the money that you call the bank and say, is this where I'm supposed to actually wire the funds?
Scammer?
Okay, Michelle.
So that's when I was still with BBB, and I would do presentations with mortgage companies and with realtors groups here in Anchorage. And I heard this story several times from realtors and from brokers that either this almost happened or it did happen, where the scammers were involved in this whole thing. They knew what was going on, and they, it's kind of a spear phishing thing where they were inside the emails, either from the bank, the mortgage company, the title company, wherever it was, and they sent an email and said, this is where to send the funds. And it was very scary. And I think the best way around that is always when you get an email, especially when you're talking about this type of money that you could be sending, that you verify, that you call the mortgage company, that you call the realtor and say, is this email really from you? Because sometimes it can just be a period in the address in there. It could be where an F looks like a T or something. All they have to do is change one little thing to be in there, and you don't know for sure. And then this is another situation where once that money goes, it is gone. Especially I think there's a 24-hour period there, but pretty much it's gone. It's like wiring cash, or to Mexico on a grandparent scam or something like that. Once that money goes, it's hard because these scammers can pick up that money. It's like people were telling me, okay, well, I sent this to Mexico. Can't they do something about the transfer office down there, or the wire transfer office down there? But that money, once they have the numbers on that transfer number, they can pick that money up anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be in Mexico. So this is the same situation. Of course, it's going to a bank account, but it's offshore. So you've got to be really careful on those. So that was, a couple different things, whether it was emails, it was impersonator calls. Is there any questions, Susan or Tanya, before I get into more of some recent scams that you'd like to talk about that, or have any questions?
Not yet.
Okay. Need to make my thing a little louder here. I turned it down for that. Okay. There's a couple other things that are going on that have been reported. There's been an uptick in scams on social media, and they're using ads, their offers to market their scams, and this has come. They're losing a record. They're saying the FTC of $117 million to these scams. Think about that, just in the first 6 months of 2020. These have to do with online sellers that don't really deliver the goods. You can't get certain types of masks here in town, so you're seeing ads for them online. Chances are, if you've never heard of the company, it might not be a legitimate company. Then there's the romance scams. A lot of people are on their computers and doing stuff, and either these are on either the dating websites, even some Facebook. There's just different places where this is happening. And they're saying at least half of the romance scams reported since 2019 were started on social media, usually either on Instagram or on Facebook. And then the third thing that they're warning about are social media messages that, again, now this is an old one, but that are pretending to offer grants and other financial relief, which a lot of people need right now. Things are bad with the economy. People are either have lost their jobs, or they're on furlough, or whatever the situation. So they're trying to find a way to make things better. And so they hide behind these phony profiles on social media. They can take over an account. They might be in a group of a community online that you trust, and then it turns out to be there's a scammer there. I see a lot of the trolls on there on some of the groups I belong to, and some of them are making nasty statements and stuff. And then when you look at the profile, you realize it's not even a real person. There are bots put in there. So you've got to be careful. It just builds it up to make it look like some of these groups, or some of these groups that are contentious, they have more members, but they're not real people. So you've got to be careful. So you need to review your privacy settings and limit what you share publicly. I've been saying this for years. You've got to research any companies that you don't recognize when you go to order something. And I always advise, go directly to the website. Never click on social media on any of these apps. That's called clickbaiting. Sometimes they're legitimate and sometimes they're not. It could take you to a website that you don't want to go to. It could be goods that look like real designer stuff, but they're not. It goes to another website, and then you get something that's subpar, or you don't get anything at all. They're just looking for your credit card information. So the best thing you do is research. If you really want to find out if this company exists, go into your search engine, put down the name, and put plus reviews and plus scams, and see what comes up. So just be careful about using any of these things from ads. And I would just say, personally, don't even click on any of these ads. If there's something that you see that you might be interested in, then go directly to the website. And I'll tell you, once you look something up, whether it's a book, a dress, a coat, something on there, those cookies follow you. So you keep seeing those same ads, and you keep thinking, okay, maybe now's the time I'm going to click on it. For the romance scams, just be wary if something like that happens. What you're finding with these scammers, if they rush you to start a friendship or romance, they want to take you off that website to another site. And then ultimately they're going to ask for money for something. They've got a relative that's sick. They want to come visit you, but their money's tied up. So just send it and they'll pay you back. They're in business over in a foreign country, but they're really from your area. That's how they showed up on your the dating website as being near you, and their money's tied up in the States. Can you just lend them the money and they'll pay you back as soon as their stuff comes through? I've just seen heartbreak stories on, if you read some of the victim stuff, either on AARP or BBB's Scam Tracker website, and you just read some of these stories, and they're just heartbreaking. That people were sending money to somebody they never met, but they've been talking to for a couple weeks or a month or 2 months, and their life savings sometimes goes away. And then as far as the grant requests that you see on social media, somebody will hijack the profile of somebody that you do know. They'll ask to be friended again. You think, okay, well, I know that person, maybe they fell off. And then somewhere along the way, they're going to start messaging with you. How you doing? What's new? By the way, I just saw your name on this grant thing because I just got $44,000 and I saw your name. Have you called them yet? And it'll have a phone number or it'll have a link to go to. So just don't ever believe that. And I say, don't friend anyone. If someone does a friend request, just actually call them and see, is that really you that's doing this? You can also look at the profile. Normally these types of profiles don't really have any other friends, or they may only have a few. They wouldn't have necessarily a history on their website, on their profile. So just really research something like that. Don't just automatically friend somebody because you think you know them. Okay, any questions on that so far? Okay. The other thing that's coming out, and this one just came out this week, are phone scams that are targeting parents and immigrants. They're texting where they are taking pictures of your children off of social media. In fact, my daughter actually texted me about this, and she was really concerned. And we're talking about taking pictures down of all my, my two grandkids off social media at all. And then they, anyway, they've taken this picture off, and then they start sending frightening things like, we know where your child goes to school, where your grandchild goes to school, and then they start threatening if you don't pay them. So that's a really scary thing that's going on, and just be careful. Tell your friends about that. Tell, aunts, uncles, whoever tell them about these sorts of things. And if you have kids with pictures of their kids on there, I think we're all going to need to be thinking twice about having these pictures on there. We recommend not responding to these calls or texts, and of course, don't pay on something like that. And you can report these scams to the local police department and also ftc.gov. And you can also put it on the AARP Scam Tracker. Those are the things that we look at, that we go to see what's trending, especially in our area, for example, in Alaska. You want to set your social media accounts to private. You want to be really careful on that. And just know that anything with the government, they're never going to call or threaten you or ask for money. So any questions on that? Nothing? Okay. And then we've got hi, Teresa.
Hey, I just wanted to say that we got an email from the editor of the Senior Voice, and Social Security is actually sending out emails to people telling them what their COLA amount will be for the year, their cost of living increase. And so we checked it all out. We checked it with the National Scam Fraud Office. But the key, I think, for there is that they're not asking for any information. It's totally just, here's some information for you. And it's actually from Social Security, but, we've always told everybody the government won't email you, and then they go ahead and do it. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Teresa. I had gotten your email on that, so I think so thank you. Next thing, of course, is the coronavirus scams. These have just been constant that we've been hearing about them. The ones that are coming up now is because there are contact tracers out there that are calling people from people that you might have been in contact with, who may have been at a restaurant or for whatever reason. And what they're saying is legitimate tracers need health information. They don't need money or personal financial information. So unfortunately, those calls are probably coming in, but just be wary of who you're talking to. And if they start asking for personal information, I would just hang up the phone in that situation. Be careful about responding to any text, emails, or calls about checks from the government. You want to ignore offers for vaccination and home test kits unless you know it's a legitimate company, although we're not seeing a lot of those. Some of these scammers are selling products that they're saying that treat or prevent COVID-19 without any proof that they work. And I think if you're online at all, you're probably seeing a lot of these coming up. And then, of course, be wary of ads for the test kits. And if it's something that you feel you need to have, maybe ask your doctor or one of the local labs where you can order those from. You want to always hang up on robocalls, even if you've answered the phone. Don't ever respond. Don't ever press 1, 2, or anything like that. And watch for emails claiming to be from the CDC or the WHO. Sites like coronavirus.gov and usa.gov/coronavirus, they have the latest information, but make sure it has that .gov in there. And don't click from sources that you don't know. And if any of these organizations are asking for donations, anything that's on an unsolicited phone call to you, never give money, never give personal information. You just want to hang up or ask them to send you something. It's something different if you initiate the phone call, but anything that's coming in unsolicited, never give money over the phone, and just ask them to send you something. Then, of course, what's happening right now, and thank goodness we only have this for about another 12 days, but it's emails from political action committees. We're getting them in emails. We're seeing them on social media. They're all asking for money for the last week. We need to do this. They've already pretty much gauged who your candidate is by probably your posts or whatever you're sharing. And there's so many fake campaigns out there going on, so you've got to be careful. And I would not give in that situation at all if they're soliciting you. I would contact whatever candidate it is and get the correct place to send the money if you still want to give a contribution. And I've been inundated with those. I don't know about you guys, but it's all over my social media. They say that foreign adversaries like Russia, China, and Iran are getting a lot of this. They're setting up these fake social media accounts and of course, spreading deceptive election information and, of course, trying to get money out of the situation, too, from you. So I just, they say what to look for these. I just would either delete them or just pass over them if you're seeing them in social media. Okay. And, yeah. So that's what I kind of have for now. I'd like to do another one where there was a couple interesting things we talked about dark web stuff, but we can do that another month. But I just want to see what you guys are seeing, or if you have any comments or anything about what we've talked about.
One of the things that I've seen recently is pop-ups coming up on the computer for items that you might find appealing. Mm-hmm. And then if you really go in and look at the company, look at a real review rather than posted reviews, what you're finding is usually they're from China. Usually the material they send, if they do send you anything, is substandard and not really what you ordered. It's taking a long time to get it if you do make an order. And one of the things I found really appealing was the inserts under the mask for protective equipment. It was kind of like, this is a husband and wife team from Texas, and they're making their way in spite of the coronavirus with their business, and it turns out that it's not. It's from China. It's just advertising that's not correct. It gets really frustrating.
It's very frustrating. That's what clickbaiting is all about. So I would stay with legitimate places, whether it's on Amazon, because at least you can get your money back in a lot of situations with that. But it is frustrating, and it's, I think we're spending more time online, and they're watching what, of course they're watching what we're buying and what we're looking at, and they're going to tailor those ads to us, and that's just the way it is. So I just don't click on anything, because then even clicking on it, even if you don't do it, then you're just going to continue to see those because they know they got you once, and that's what's hard about that. Yeah. But thank you, Susan. Yeah. Tanya, any comments? Don't want to put anybody on the spot. Okay. Teresa,
Michelle,
Daryl?
I just wanted to bring up the one that I saw just the other day, which was people getting text messages or emails on their phone about voting, saying, we know who you are and you better vote for Trump or else, kind of thing. And it just terrifies me that people might change their vote one way or the other based on that, because no one really knows how you vote. But that one is in Alaska right now, I heard.
Yeah, I heard that we're one of 2 or 3 states that they're actually doing that, and yeah, it's scary. It's really scary. Yeah, I would just say to, if you know anybody that happens to, just delete it. You can just swipe over, delete the number, delete the text. But yeah, I think we're seeing that. And I think I read just this morning or yesterday that we're one of the couple states where they're actually doing that, where that's happening, or they're hearing about it.
And I've gotten several saying that there's a problem with my Social Security account, and to click here to fix it, or to call this number to fix it. I've gotten both. And if you go to socialsecurity.gov and set up your own little account, you can check it. And there was, of course, nothing wrong with my account. So.
And of course, they're not going to text you to begin with. So, they're not
Right.
contact you in that sense. Right. So, yeah, it is tough. But, I was talking to people in line yesterday as we were all, 6 feet apart at the Midtown Center where I went to vote. And we were talking about these things that people were getting. And yeah, it's frustrating. And maybe it'll wear off a little bit in 2 weeks, but they'll just find other things.
Right.
And Michelle, the one thing that I'd like to ask about is I think we've come to the end of the census count, and I know there have been some scams associated with census, but at this point, hopefully those scams will start to fade as the census, I believe, actually has come to a conclusion.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. And yeah, I'm sure there were scams going on saying that they were, because that's a perfect way to get personal information.
Yeah.
From people. So, yeah. Anything else? Was this helpful at all? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Open for questions. We've got some time. Anything? Okay.
All right, Michelle. Well, it's always great to have the former head of the Alaska BBB with us, being our lead fraud volunteer for AARP. So, we really value your time, expertise, and thanks for sharing it with us. Just want to give a quick shout out. We will be back in November with a little different event. On November 12th, Michelle will actually be on a teletown hall with us. We'll be talking about frauds and scams that target veterans. That's November 12th at 1 p.m. Alaska time. You can go to the AARP Alaska website, which is aarp.org/AK, if you'd like to register for that event. Again, that's November 12th at 1 o'clock, and Michelle will be one of our 2 guests on that call on the 12th. So, Michelle, big thank you again. Thanks for taking the time to put this together. Always a pleasure to have you on this. And we will be back in November again, like I said, with a different program, and then hopefully back in December with one more Fraud Watchdog team presentation before the end of the year. Any final comments, Michelle?
No, I think of just stay safe and yeah, just stay safe and stay healthy.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks, Michelle. And thanks for everyone else who joined us. Indeed, just to follow up on Michelle's words, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay wise out there. And then have a great afternoon and evening, everyone. Take care.